This is the project I'm going to work on today. Walking out of here to Windy Daze, berthed here at Stingray Point Marina. It's a pretty day, August 7th, 2019. Going to get on there and see if I can work on getting a brand new toilet, a new Jabsco toilet. This is the project I'm going to be working on today. I'm going to be taking out this Raritan RM69 toilet and trying to put in a Jabsco in its place. So sure, it's going to be an interesting project. So we're going to be getting started on it here shortly, trying to get this out first, and then we'll look at trying to get the other one in. And looking at this, it's like I've got a hose here I need to unclamp. Looks like this one's just on there loosely, which I probably need to replace. Then we've got this one here, this one, and probably underneath, yeah, right down in there. I've got one right here I need to take off, and I'm sure there's one right there that I'm going to have to get off. Well, I got it out. I got the toilet out, and it was not easy. Had a minimal amount of fluids that came out. Of course, what did come out wasn't fun to look at, and I've got some cleanup to do, but it could have been worse. But it's also nice to be able to finally get back there, clean it up, because you can see how nasty it gets over time. So probably change out some hoses, get it right. Okay, I was able to get the RM69 Rasky toilet out. So that's the one I took out, and it was hard to do. Obviously, it was very hard getting to all the mounting bolts. And of course, it's pretty nasty. When you get the hose off here, I had drained it as much as I possibly could, but make sure that when you do take off the large discharge hose, make sure you've got plenty of paper towels down, rags, whatever you've got, because you will get some discharge. Taking off the supply, which was right here, that wasn't that bad. Some came out of that, but not much. Once again, you want to just have that ready to catch it. Now, I am not replacing this. I got the Jabsco compact toilet, and you can see they're very similar in size. Maybe the Jabsco is a little lower. As far as the mounting is concerned, the distance from here to here is going to be longer than from here to here. So what I'll do is I'll take the epoxy and fill in the 4 holes that I already have from the Rasky toilet and drill new holes for the Jabsco toilet. Now, one thing I will mention about the Jabsco, when you get the Jabsco, this hose is pointed up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to put a 90-degree angle in so it can go into the hose. Because the other one, so you can see this one was pointed about like this. This has a little bit of an angle to it. But what I was able to do, very simple, loosen up this screw, and you can turn this. So I've got it kind of right now in the position that I think it's going to need to be in. Of course, the actual position will be dictated by the hose. I'm going to try to, I want to replace my 3/4 line inflow. That shouldn't be that hard. The one that would be hard to change out would be the discharge hose, the sanitation hose. I want to try to change that. That's going to be more difficult. I may need to, since you've got a little bit of, this one has a more right angle. This has a little bit more of a turn. So I may need to heat the pipe, and I'll just do that with the one of those handheld air heaters that you use for wiring. You can also use that for tubing, get that a little bit warm and more pliable so it'll turn. And I am looking forward to getting this one in and throwing that one away. Alright, what I'm doing in this next step is all I've done is I've set the new Jabsco compact toilet in place to see where it fits and see how I like it. None of the holes are going to match up. There's one of the holes right there. The holes don't match up, so what I'm going to do, like I said, those are some of the holes there as well. But it does fit pretty well, and I like the way it fits. It does fit pretty well, and I like how it fits. The toilet roll dispenser was here, and since the Jabsco is a little wider, I've taken that off, and I'm going to reposition that. I'm not sure exactly where yet, but I'll reposition it probably here on this bulkheading right here. To fill the holes, this is what I'm using. The West System 105 epoxy resin with the 206 hardener, and I am using the colloidal silica number 406, and this is what I've made up is this paste right here, and I'm about to put it in the holes. I have prepped the holes a little bit by using some of the brushing thinner to make that as clean as possible so it's ready to accept the epoxy. Okay, so I'm getting ready to put in the epoxy into the 4 holes. I'm going to go ahead and take out this supply line. I'm not sure if you can see or not. That's where it's attached. So it's a short line. That's an easy one to replace. I'm also going to try to replace the discharge line as well. Okay, so I have now taken off the supply line. It wasn't too difficult. Of course, I had to loosen up the clamp that was attached to the through hole, but it came off pretty easily. It's definitely old, needs to be replaced, and who wants to hook up old to new? So I'm going to have a new supply line coming in. Alright, I have gone ahead and epoxied the holes first time. May only need to do it one time, but I've put it on early enough to where if it sucks down a little bit, I can put on a little bit more before it starts to dry. I've got off the supply line. Now I think I want to go ahead and get rid of the discharge line. It's going to be quite a bit harder. As you can see, it goes right there behind the head. A little hard to see, probably, but it's right back there underneath the sink. Then if we go into the forward cabin, you can catch a little bit of it right there. And then we go into the forward underneath right by the holding tank, and you can see where it's attached right there. So it comes out there, feeds up, and attaches there with a clamp. So obviously the thing to do is to unclamp it and then try to pull it back out through there. That is not going to be easy, but I think we can get it done. I think I can get it done. So that's the project right now. See if we can get that hose out. Alright, before I end up getting this hose off all the way, I wanted to show you what I did. First of all, I got a good light in there. And I've actually got this big wrench on here. And I'm just with that wrench. I'm not really turning it much. I'm just kind of working it. And hopefully all the bad stuff has already come out the other end. I'm not going to pull it all the way off just in case it's really nasty. I do have some stuff down here to catch it if it does. But that's how I got the hose off from the holding tank. Okay, and I did get it off. So that's what I'm going to be trying to attach to. I'm wearing some gloves, but I'm going to go ahead and get this clamp off. When I get this clamp off, I'm going to try to pull it through. Okay, so I've gone ahead and taken the clamp off that side, detached it from the holding tank. Let's see if it pulls. It doesn't want to pull. Doesn't want to pull. Okay, I'm about ready to pull out the old discharge hose. I'm going to pull from the head area, and it's going to go through there. There was this little place here on the side. I did take off the molding that was around there. It really doesn't give you any more access to the hose, but I can maybe get my hand in there a little bit. Here's the end of the hose. I did bring it back here. I did stuff it with paper towels. There was a little bit of discharge, so I would definitely recommend you put some paper towels in there. You don't want to be leaving a trail in inside your inner hull, in your outer hull, as you're pulling it through. So we're going to see how it goes. Okay, I did get it all out. There it is. Sometimes the hose can be a source of stink. So if you're going to change out the toilet and you're going to change out the supply line, I recommend you get rid of the discharge line. That way you're starting off brand new. You're not putting old with new. You're putting new with new. So it's a pain. It's stinky. It's nasty. But I believe it'll be worth it when it's all done. So now I've taken out the discharge line. I've taken out the supply line. And I'm going to measure those and obviously be generous, a little bit generous as far as length. Go a little bit longer. I can always cut it shorter. Plus I also have to allow for some of the bends that need to take place. So that's my next steps. Go get the new product. Then I'm going to get in here and paint. And after I paint, I'll put in the lines. After I put in the lines, then I can put in the toilet. Okay, I got the new hose. Now what I recommend you do here is you go to, don't just go to, I mean, West Marine's got a lot of good stuff, and Defender and all those people, but I went to my local hardware store, and they happen to be right here in Deltaville, a True Value. And this Trident 1.5 inch sanitation hose was $3.99 a foot. West Marine charges, I believe, $14 a foot. Then this 3/4 inch ID supply line was $1.99 a foot. Of course, I also got 4 brand new clamps for the 3/4 inch ID, 4 new clamps for the 1 inch ID. My point is that for those 2 items, I saved a whole lot. So you do have to just do some searching, some investigating. Like I said, I went to the Herds True Value here in Deltaville and saved a lot of money, but got good top quality sanitation line and supply line for my head. So shop around. You can save a lot of money, and it makes you feel good when you save some money, because you know you've done your job. What I've gone ahead and done is I've painted this area with white bright side paint from West Marine. It's the same paint that I used on sunny days on the outer hull, but it's great for a water exposure situation, which is what a bathroom head is on a boat. So I want to clean this thing up, give it a new look. So that's what I've done, is I've gone in and put on a first coat. I'm going to put on a second coat. To prep it, I sanded it. I used the brushing thinner. Did that twice. Of course, I washed it first. Steel wooled it, sanded it. Used the brushing thinner. Did that again. And then I started painting. This bright side paint works great. And it's going to give this whole area a better look. And it'll match up better with the white new Jabsco toilet. Alright, what I'm going to use to sand is I've got this flexible sanding pad, and I've got this sanding block. It's an old one, but it still has good sanding properties, because there's a lot of corners, a lot of edges. It's not a place that I do need something that can get around curves. So these are the 2 items I'm going to use for sanding and get that done. Okay, I've just finished sanding it with the soft block and the soft pad, and now I'm about to use the brushing thinner number 120 by Pettit, and I'm going to wipe down all the area. I'm going to get the second coat on and get it ready for painting. Second coat. This is the new sanitation discharge line, 1.5" ID. Now I just tried pushing it through, and to no surprise, it was stopping, getting a blockage. So what I've tried to do, and what I was able to do very easily, is I just took some garden hose and I ran the garden hose through the hole there, and it easily went back to, or forward to, where the holding tank is. So what I'm going to do is, here's the end of it. I'm going to run the white sanitation tube over top of this and use this. This can guide it hopefully through the holes. And I'll also be able to pull on it and maybe move it around so it'll get in the right place to go through the holes. So let's see how this goes. Okay, it wasn't very easy to do, but I was able to feed the green garden hose through, and it's coming out right there. So now I'm going to try to push the white sanitation hose over the green hose, and that'll be guiding me through the holes to the holding tank. Okay, that worked pretty good. First try. I did tie a knot in the end right here because I didn't want it to go back up inside of there. As you can see, on the first try I was able to feed the white sanitation hose through there. Might not be able to see it underneath there, but that's under the sink. And then it went by right there. And here it is up in the forward holding area. Made it all through. So now I just need to attach it to the holding tank. But I feel like that was probably the hardest thing to do, was to get this hose into position. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the green hose out of the sanitation hose. Okay, I'm getting ready to make the attachment of the sanitation hose to the holding tank. I've got my two clamps in position. I've got some tape on here to try to keep them in that position so I don't have to go fetching, trying to find them. It may work well, it may not work well, but it's worth a try. So I'm ready to go ahead and make the attachment sanitation discharge hose to the holding tank. It was not easy to do, but I've got it attached to the holding tank. I've got one clamp in place. I'm about to tighten that up. I have my second clamp ready to go as well. Get those both tightened up. And here the holding tank will be finished. It'll be now time for the hookup. If the camera's shaking a little bit, because my hand's shaking after doing that. Okay, the discharge hose is now attached to the holding tank, and I've got two clamps on it, ready to make the connection, the supply connection in the head. Okay, I have the new supply line in. I've got the new discharge line in and back here on the head. This was not easy, putting on this supply line. I actually had to heat up the hose to get it on, along with dishwasher detergent. But I've got it on there now. I've got two clamps on it. If you're left-handed, this is a lot easier. If you're right-handed, it's going to be a little hard to do, but you'll get it done. So right now it's time to get back to where we started and get the toilet, the new Jabsco compact toilet, in place. Hopefully get it hooked up and secured. Okay, I just finished drilling the 4 holes for the Jabsco toilet. You know, you got your fiberglass on the outside, and underneath is the core wood. So I used the, I believe it's a 3/16 on the left to drill my pilot hole. And then that's a 1/4 inch bit on the right, which I used just to, on the fiberglass. So that way it won't crack the fiberglass when the lag screws go in. This is what I'm using to attach the Jabsco toilet to the foundation. You've got the stainless steel, and that's a 5/16, I believe, by 1 1/4 lag bolt with washer, and that's also stainless steel. Okay, my holes are drilled, and I've made my connections. Supply, discharge. I need to tighten up the clamps, put in the 4 lag bolts, and I'm pretty much done with this project as far as this stage right here in the head in the toilet. Looks a lot better. It's gonna be, everything's brand new. Everything is brand new, which will be nice. Okay, the Jabsco toilet is now installed. I've got my 4 lag bolts in, and there's a 4th one back there. I've got my supply line coming in right here, and my discharge line right there, both double clamped. And got a little cleanup to do down there on the sill, and then I'll put the floor back in. But as far as this bottom part is concerned, of course I'll put my door back in. As far as the bottom part is concerned, it looks 1,000 times better than it did. And I've got new plumbing from the toilet back to the holding tank. So that's just like brand new. So if you want to do this yourself, it's a very hard project. But if I can do it, you can do it. Just take your time. Hopefully this video will help out if you're trying to do it yourself. Good luck.